In this video, we're going to look at an example involving the integral test. So we're being asked to determine whether the series 1/5 plus 1/8 plus 1/11 and so on is divergent or convergent. First thing we notice is that the denominator increases by 3 each time. So we have 3 times n here in the denominator, and then we need to add 2 to adjust for starting at 5. So we notice that we can rewrite this series as the sum from n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over 3n plus 2. This allows us to identify the function that we're going to want to integrate as 1 over 3x plus 2. In order to be able to use the integral test, we need to make sure that this function is continuous, positive, and decreasing eventually. Typically we say from 1 to infinity, but as long as it starts somewhere and has those 3 characteristics going on from that point, you can apply the integral test. Well, first thing is that the only number we cannot plug into this function is -2/3. So certainly this function is continuous on the interval from 1 to infinity. We're not plugging in negative values for x's, and we're not subtracting anything, so it's certainly positive on that same interval. And it certainly is decreasing because the numerator is a constant and the denominator is getting larger as x gets bigger and bigger. So the function satisfies the 3 hypotheses necessary to apply the integral test. So let's do that. We'll take the integral from 1 to infinity of 1 over 3x plus 2 dx. We're going to handle that improper limit of integration by replacing it with a variable and letting that variable go off to infinity. So now we'll calculate the integral. An antiderivative for 1 over 3x plus 2 is 1/3 natural log of 3x plus 2. Plug in our endpoints, and we'll go ahead and just pop that 1/3 out in front. We'll have natural log of 3b plus 2 minus natural log of 5, and I don't need to worry about absolute value bars here because our b is clearly going to be a positive number, so I'm not going to have any negative issues inside the natural log. Now, as b goes to infinity, 3b plus 2 also goes off to infinity. Log of that will also go off to infinity. Not very quickly, but it will go off to infinity. So that integral turns out to be infinity, or in particular, that integral diverges. So since the integral diverges, the series does the same thing. So that series, 1 from n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over 3n plus 2, also diverges by the integral test.